Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome to my channel. I am Jamie Beth. Today we're going to talk about ghost ships. I know, so interesting. So in maritime history, there are numerous stories that sound eerily similar, and it's stories of vessels that appear out of the blue and with with not a single person aboard. And there is no sign as to what happened to the crew. It's so crazy. Now, these ships are called ghost ships, and they are an integral part of sailors' lore, which is awesome too. While many of the ghost ships are just legends and tales, there are some that do actually exist, and there have been occurrences where real ghost ships have emerged from the sea. We are going to talk about all sorts of ghost ships that have been found throughout the world. And we're going to jump right in. Okay, the first ghost ship we're going to talk about is the Caleuche. And it is a legend of the Joyita mythology where it is described as a ghost ship which comes into being every night near the island of Chilo. It says the ship carries the spirits of all the people who have drowned. The Caleuche is strikingly beautiful. It is brightly colored and there's always sounds of music and laughter. However, it only stays for a few moments and then suddenly disappears or submerges itself into the water. Three Joyita water spirits, the Zebrina Joyita, the Pankoya, and then the Pikoi, who resemble mermaids, summon the spirits of the drowned. The next ship we're going to talk about is the Mary Celeste. Probably the most famous real-life ghost ship story embraces the Mary Celeste. Found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean, it was completely unharmed with all the sails intact, the crew's personal belongings intact, and a cargo hold of over 1,500 alcohol barrels were untouched. The only thing missing were the lifeboat, the captain's logbook, and most importantly, the entire crew. Since pirate attacks couldn't be blamed on this mysterious phenomenon, theories of crew mutiny, waterspout killings, and consumption of poisonous food, which would lead to madness, came into play. So they were just kind of throwing back and forth the different things that could have happened to this crew at that time. However, the most reasonable explanation is just like something happened on the ship. There could have been a big storm, something technical could have happened that forced the crew to abandon ship and leave in a lifeboat, which later, they ended up dying at sea. The next ship we're going to talk about is called the Flying Dutchman. In maritime folklore, this ghost ship has left the maximum impact like no other by inspiring numerous paintings, films, books, and opera. Vanderdecken, the captain, on its way towards the East Indies, with sheer determination, tried to steer his ship through the adverse weather conditions of the Cape of Good Hope, but failed miserably. Legend says that since then they have been cursed to sail the oceans for eternity. Next up is the SS Valencia, which was an iron-hulled passenger steamer that carried passengers along the west coast of the U.S. On January 21st, 1906, following bad visibility caused by fog, the ship collided with a reef off the coast of Canada. In all the chaos, the crew accidentally lowered nearly all of the improperly manned lifeboats. While 37 men survived on the remaining 3 lifeboats, 136 passengers and crew on the vessel perished. In 1933, the Valencia's lifeboat number 5 was found floating in Berkeley Sound in remarkably good condition. Since then, many fishermen have claimed to witness the ghost ship sightings with human skeletons even after many decades of post-sinking. Next up is the Ourang Medan. In 1947, 2 American ships, while passing through the Strait of Malacca, went off on a rescue mission after receiving a distress call from the Ourang Medan. The caller claimed to be a crew member and conveyed the message of the death of everyone else on board. His words weirdly ended with I die. The rescuers found the ship, which was unharmed, but the entire crew, including a dog, were found dead with terrified faces and expressions. Before further investigation, the abandoned ship caught fire and exploded. The probable reason could be overexposure of the nitroglycerin, which it was carrying illegally. The other mystery involves around the story of paranormal activities and or alien invasion. Next, we're going to talk about the Carroll A Deering. This ship ran aground in the notorious Diamond Shoals near Cape Hatteras, North Carolina in 1921. Where it was stuck for several days before any rescue team could arrive. Later, the Coast Guard found that the equipment, logbook, and 2 lifeboats were missing from the abandoned ship, otherwise undamaged. Now, investigation showed a few other ships had also disappeared under mysterious circumstances around this time, which could be contributed to pirates, crew mutiny, weather. They were also near the Bermuda Triangle. So the next ship we're going to talk about is the SS Baychimo. This was a steel-hulled 1322-ton cargo steamer used to trade provisions for pelts in the local settlement along the Victoria Island coast of Canada. On October 1st, 1931, at the end of a trading run and loaded with a cargo of fur, Baychimo became trapped in pack ice along outer skirts of Alaska and was abandoned by its crew. Despite being unmanned, the ship eventually broke free from the ice and continued to be spotted floating around Alaska throughout the 1930s. This ship was last spotted in 1969, 38 years after she was abandoned, still intact and seaworthy. On our list is the MV Joyita. This was a merchant vessel that left Samoa Apia Harbor on October 3rd, 1955, bound for the Tokelau Islands. 5 weeks later, the ship was found with all 25 passengers missing. The ship's radio was broken, but it was attempting to send out a distress signal. An investigation determined the fate of the passengers and crew to be inexplicable on the evidence submitted at the inquiry. Moving along to the Ryou-Un Maru, which was a Japanese fishing boat that was washed away from its mooring in Aomori Prefecture by the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. Japanese officials first believed the ship had been destroyed, but it eventually floated into American waters near Alaska 1 year later. The U.S. Coast Guard decided to sink the boat to avoid it becoming a navigation hazard. Moving along to the HMS Resolute. This ship was of the British Royal Navy and was abandoned in 1854 after being trapped by ice in the Viscount Melville Sound in Canada. The ship was on a search expedition to discover the fate of John Franklin, the British explorer who had been lost in the Arctic. After being abandoned, the ship drifted 1,200 miles before it was found 1 year later. Wood from the ship was used to make a desk that now sits in the Oval Office. Moving along to the SV Bel Amica. This ship was a classic schooner that was found derelict near Punta Volpe, Sardinia, Italy in 2006. The Coast Guard crew that discovered the ship found half-eaten Egyptian meals, French maps of North African seas, and a flag of Luxembourg on the board. When the owner of the ship was found, a man from Luxembourg, it was discovered that it was a modern ship that was likely abandoned so the owner could avoid paying taxes on it. On to the SV Kaz II, which was a 12-meter catamaran that was sailing in Australia with a 3-man crew in 2007. She was found drifting 88 nautical miles off the coast of Australia 5 days later. The boat was in good, perfect condition except for one sail that was shredded. Investigators never found the 3 men that were on board, but they hypothesized that they may have ended up in the ocean while trying to untangle a fishing lure caught in the boat's rudder. And because the water was really choppy, they were unable to get back into the boat. Next up is the SV Zebrina. This sailing barge departed England in October of 1917 with a cargo of coal bound for France. 2 days later, she was discovered on Roselle Point, south of Cherbourg, France. She was found without any damage except to the rigging, and the crew was missing. At the time, they hypothesized that the crew was abducted by a German U-boat, but their true fate is still unknown. The Jenny was an English schooner which left port from Isle of Wight in 1822. It was discovered by a whaling vessel called the Hope 18 years later, frozen solid in the Drake Passage, a body of water between South America's Cape Horn and the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica. On the schooner were the dead bodies of the crew, preserved by the cold climate surrounding it. Ooh, that's scary. Moving along to the High Aim 6. This was a Taiwanese ship that was discovered without its crew drifting in Australian waters on January 9th, 2003. There was no evident reason for the abandonment of the ship, and no signs of distress were found with the crew's personal effects still on board. The Taiwanese police said that the ship was abandoned because of a mutiny and arrested 1 person in connection with the crime back in the country. So that is our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about some of these ghost ships, whether they were real or just folklore. These were tales and real life ships that were found floating around the world. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, as well as the notification bell next to it to be notified of all of my upcoming videos. Please leave a comment if you guys want me to continue talking about haunted things. So if there is some haunted thing that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to do a video on that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.